Lilypad wasn't evil. Every trailer for Toy Story 5 makes Lilypad look like the problem. She keeps pulling Bonnie toward a screen, away from Jessie, and at one point comes dangerously close to separating them for good. So naturally, everyone expects the toys to fight back and destroy her. But the movie keeps showing something that does not fit that idea. Lilypad is not trying to hurt Bonnie. In her own messed up way, she thinks she is helping a lonely kid make friends. That changes the whole conflict. Pixar could have turned this into a simple toys good, technology bad story, but that would have been way too easy. Instead, Lilypad becomes something more uncomfortable, a tool with good intentions and terrible judgment. And suddenly the real villain is not technology. It is what happens when convenience starts replacing connection. Emily theory finally dies. For years, fans had one Toy Story theory they refused to let go. Emily, Jessie's first owner, grew up to become Andy's mum. People compared hats, hairstyles, bedrooms, even tiny background details, and the theory started to feel almost official. Then Toy Story 5 finally brings Emily back properly, and the idea begins falling apart the moment you see her adult life. She does not match Andy's mother, and nothing in the movie points towards some hidden family reveal. But Pixar does something much smarter than simply proving fans wrong. Emily now has a daughter who loves toys just as deeply as she once did. Then the movie drops the detail that gives the old theory a completely new life. Her daughter is named Jessie. So the mystery is gone, but the emotional connection survives in a different form. Andy was never returning. Andy was the comeback almost everyone expected. After all, Toy Story spent 3 movies making him the center of Woody's world. So fans imagined the perfect reunion. Andy visits the carnival, sees Woody again, maybe even introduces him to his own kids. Toy Story 5 goes in the opposite direction. The story moves forward without building toward Andy at all, and after a while, that absence starts to feel intentional. Jessie, Emily, and Bonnie are carrying the emotional weight now. That raises a better question than where is Andy? Why would Pixar bring him back if Woody's entire ending was about learning to live beyond him? A reunion might feel good for 5 minutes, but it could also undo the hardest choice Woody ever made. Sometimes closure is not seeing someone again. Sometimes it is finally stopping yourself from waiting. Bo Peep fixes Woody. The second fans saw Woody's bald patch. One name came back instantly: Gary. He was the old repairman who restored Woody in Toy Story 2, and bringing him back felt like the perfect nostalgic payoff. Maybe Woody would sit under that bright repair light one last time and come out looking brand new. But the movie takes a smaller route, and it hits harder. Near the end, Bo Peep notices the worn patch, grabs a brown marker, and carefully fills it in herself. That tiny moment says more than a huge repair scene could. Woody is old now. He is scratched, faded, and missing pieces of the toy he used to be. Bo does not try to turn him back into that version. She simply helps with the damage that is there. It is not restoration. It is care. Lotso's return was fake. The Lotso comeback theory had almost everything going for it. Toy Story 5 shows Lilypad glitching, strange code appears across her screen, and suddenly fans have a perfect suspect. Lotso already hates these toys. He has every reason to want revenge, and turning their new technology against them would be a brutal way to return. For a while, the idea actually sounds convincing. Then the movie starts pulling it apart. The glitches lead back to Lilypad herself, not some mastermind hiding behind her. That is where the theory gets interesting. Fans were so ready for an old villain to return that they treated every malfunction like evidence. Pixar does the opposite. The danger comes from something trying to help and getting it badly wrong. Somehow, that feels more believable than Lotso secretly hacking a tablet from a garbage truck. Sid didn't build Lilypad. Sid was an even wilder suspect, but the theory had one detail that made people take it seriously. He knows toys are alive. Woody made sure of that back in the first movie, and Sid carried that nightmare into adulthood. So when Toy Story 5 introduced technology capable of pushing toys out of a child's life, fans connected the dots. Maybe Sid grew up, learned programming, and built Lilypad as revenge on the things that terrified him. It is dark, personal, and surprisingly believable. But the movie takes the story somewhere else. Lilypad is tied to Bonnie's parents trying to help their daughter, not an old enemy settling a score. And that changes the whole idea. The biggest threat to toys is not someone who hates them. It is a world that is slowly learning how to live without them. Buzz Army's secret mission. The army of Buzz Lightyears looked like chaos in the trailers. Dozens of identical Buzzes marching together had fans guessing everything from an anniversary release to a villain-controlled army. The real explanation is stranger. Their shipping container goes off course and leaves them stranded on a remote island, cut off from the kids they were made for. So they do what Buzz Lightyear would do, organize, improvise, and find a way home. They build a raft from scraps, survive the journey, and then the movie pushes an old franchise joke into reality. These buzzes can actually fly, but the best part comes after they reach civilization. They do not stay together. Each one finds a lonely kid on a playground and chooses a different child. The army was never heading into battle. It was heading toward kids who needed somebody. Jessie redefines leadership. Jessie becoming the leader sounds obvious until you see her problem. Woody-led toys fighting to stay important to one child. Jessie faces something bigger. Bonnie is growing into a world where toys are no longer the center of childhood. That changes what leadership means. Jessie has to read Bonnie's feelings, keep the others from panicking, and make decisions while knowing she might lose the kid she is protecting. So this is not simply Jessie taking Woody's job. She is facing a challenge Woody never had. Woody eventually responded to change by leaving and finding a new purpose. Jessie chooses to stay and adapt. That is why her promotion works. She is not trying to become another Woody. She is figuring out what Bonnie's room needs now, even if that means leading everyone through a future none of them understand. Buzz finally chooses Jessie. Buzz and Jessie's proposal works because the movie lets you notice it before they say it out loud. Buzz starts acting differently around her. He loses that Space Ranger confidence, hesitates at strange moments, and suddenly looks nervous around someone he has known forever. Fans caught those changes and started wondering if Pixar was finally taking their relationship somewhere permanent. Then the payoff arrives, and it stays simple. Buzz tries to propose, struggles to get the words out, and Jessie understands where he is going. She kisses him and says yes before he can finish. It is funny, but it also feels earned. These two have spent years surviving disasters and choosing each other when things fall apart. The proposal does not suddenly create a romance. It finally puts words to something the movies have been quietly building for years. Toy Story isn't ending. Toy Story has already given us two endings that felt final. Toy Story 3 said goodbye to Andy. Toy Story 4 let Woody walk away and start a new life. So you would expect Toy Story 5 to close the door even harder. Instead, the world feels open. Bonnie is still changing, new toy friendships are forming, and the post-credit material points towards stories that can continue without Woody carrying everything. That may be the real trick. Toy Story is not just about one kid and one group of toys anymore. It is becoming a story about what happens when children change, relationships end, and somebody new needs you. So maybe the question is not whether Pixar can make Toy Story 6. It is whether the franchise has found a way to keep going without pretending every movie is the last goodbye.